Our next superintendent of Supe Tank is Holly McClurg. She is the superintendent of Del Mar Union School District, more than 3 decades of education experience. She served as a district office administrator. I know she is just so well thought of. She's very cool and fun. I got to tell you, she won first prize in the Classroom of the Future Foundation's first ever red carpet walk at one of our events. You remember that, Holly, right? That's good. We need to have that on the screen one of these days on this aspect of it. And certainly has won some great awards from Classroom of the Future Foundation. Let's give it up for Holly McClurg.
Thank you. Tough act to follow, Ben, but I am thrilled to be here today to talk to you about my district experiences that we've been on and where we are right now with our journey in and ending up here at Supe Tank. So Del Mar Union School District actually is a district of about 4,000 students. We have preschool through grade 6 we have 9 schools, and what people don't know as much about is the makeup of our district. We are very culturally diverse, 41 languages at this point on this given day. And we do serve cities in the cities of San Diego and Del Mar. All of our 9 schools actually happen to be in the city of San Diego. People don't realize that as well either. And the one thing I do want to talk about is our District Design 2022 before I go further with Supe Tank. This is our strategic plan that we actually began formally in 2017. It's now the year 2022, so you can imagine what stage we're at right now. And before 2017 ever even hit and it became an articulated plan, we had a lot of conversations about systems and structures and beliefs in our district. And what we really realized at that time was we always took really good care of kids and loved kids. But we were still really focused on, even though we talked about students and we wanted to be student focused, you know what most of our decisions were all about? What made the adults comfortable. And it came down to what we were bringing to the table and what our thinking was around it. So we really had to turn the tables around and start thinking about agency and in a way that was very different. What systems and structures and beliefs did we have in place for decades that were impacting the decisions and the planning that we were going to put forth in District Design 2022? And what we landed on was we went into classrooms, we actually shadowed kids, we spent days with kids, and it was really, really enlightening. We landed on a plan that really embraced radical change. And we talked a lot about the word radical because it is controversial, just that word. And we said, you know what? It is about radical because if we're going to make schools meaningful and make schools what they need to be for the future kids and for today's kids, they need to look different than what they are right now. The classrooms are not in the classroom solely like we've seen them. It's way beyond. And we started to embrace that, and you know, I would tell you, our classrooms look radically different. Our culture is radically different, and we embrace change. And I will also tell you that in the pandemic, this absolutely rocked us because all of that control and lack of agency and lack of connectivity was completely contrary to what we knew kids needed. And what we know about Generation Alpha, which I'll talk to you about a little bit more today. So it really is about our District Design 2022, and this fits in beautifully today. So our question and our ideas around today is how do we bring the skills that matter most to life for our students so that they gain understanding of how those skills play out in the real world? And we're going to focus on one part of industry. It is the food industry, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about that right now. But in our District Design 2022, we actually have 3 levers. The first is a strong instructional core and high quality instruction. The second is the skills that matter most, and the third is environment. All 3 of those are critically important. We're designing 2 new schools that look very different. They have interconnected class. They don't even have classrooms. We don't know what we're going to call them yet. And kids are weaving in and out, and they're not only going to have one teacher, and we no longer have an MUR or a multi-purpose room. We actually have an innovation hub that's going to be alive with children all day long. So these transformations, we don't have desks and chairs in our classrooms. Very, very different. I'm not saying kids don't have access to a desk if they need it, but they look very different, and how a school looks is very different. So when we talk about, I pulled some of these skills that matter most from actually lever number 2 that contribute to, if we have this partnership going on with our industry, what kinds of skills are we talking about? So you'll see some of these skills: leadership, management, employability, economics, imagination, creativity come alive in what I'm going to talk about next. So the ask is kids beyond the kitchen. We know it sounds great to have kids in a kitchen actually cooking and stirring up a recipe, and that's not what we're talking about. We actually want to partner with the local industry to have kids see what goes into actually running a business, having an idea, being an entrepreneur, and being able to follow through on a business model. And there are so many things involved in what we think is very applicable at the elementary level, which is a restaurant. Kids can relate to that. We have access to it. It's in our community. And kids have great ideas. They can give back to a community and give back to a restaurant. So our ask, if we had $15,000, we want to partner with an owner or CEO or manager of a restaurant, corporation, restaurant chain, restaurant, to work together in the development of a template that would show the curriculum and the string of activities that we would do with a group of fifth graders. So in order to have have our children experience problem seeking and then solving of those problems. So if we had $15,000, you can see what we would spend it on up here. We would want support for our teachers to develop curriculum and programming in cooperation with the actual restaurant staff. We would want compensation for the actual business employees, because if they're working with us, they need to be compensated. We know that we need access to their actual staff at the restaurant. We want students and staff transportation to and from the restaurant. We would love our children to be involved in the marketing, because we know that in the development of a business model, it's all about the development of the model, the actual what goes into employability, how do you interview, how do you hire, how do you actually conduct your business, what are profit margins, and actually how do you market all of these good ideas. And obviously materials and supplies. So the ask number 2 is what would we be doing? Staff and students would meet with various business staff to learn all about the aspects of the various parts of running a restaurant. And we would want to schedule time for the staff to be with our kids in the schools, as well as for our students to be in the actual restaurant setting. So who are these kids? Generation Alpha. We understand how they're global, they're socially connected, they need things to be relevant. They're very much interested in the overall mental health. They are very connected. Even though they're very social in the digital world, they also need to be connected with one another. So this offers a chance for these kids to experience helping to solve a problem that they see. So what is our current reality? Kids are seeing that, you know what, they're asking, why aren't there fun restaurants in our area that have good food, that are family-oriented, and that's something that we like as kids and that our parents like? So parents are asking, why are the restaurants closing? Why don't these kinds of restaurants exist, and why does it cost so much to grab dinner at any night of the week? So we believe that not only can our kids learn from the restaurant industry can learn from our kids. A great thing about kids is they're not stifled by thoughts about what they can't do. They think about it from an angle of what can be possible. So we think their ideas are great. We think the desired reality that's more student-centered could actually become real reality. Our kids have ideas that could help market these restaurants, and I think could be a real benefit not only to our kids, but to the entire community and hopefully to the business model that a restaurant would have in place. So Kids Beyond the Kitchen, again, isn't about cooking. That's part of it, but it's about all of the industry that's involved, all of the occupations that are involved in the restaurant industry, and all of those skills that matter most that our kids would have the chance to experience in real time, in a real world setting, working with a partner in the restaurant industry. So again, our ask, we'd love to have some sponsorship. We'd love any connections to anybody in the restaurant industry, and we think this would be a wonderful opportunity for our kids. Thank you.
Nicely done.